Welcome back, all my 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ here with Tim's Nation, and it's battle report time, which means that we need a list. And this week, Lane's list is viewer recommended. So for me, I thought I'd go down the path of trying to use some Necron units I haven't used. Maybe find that hidden gem or something really entertaining or fun. Those of you who follow the channel know I like to run some silly stuff. I like to try to go outside the meta. Unless I have an army that I am hugely confident behind, that I think is going to be like, man, this is going to win a GT and everything like that, I like to try and win it at my own kind of creativity behind it. And the Necrons have such a deep book, it feeds that need for me a lot of times. So, to get this list together, I needed Ghost Arks, because that's what we're bringing today. We're bringing 6 of them. And I only had 2 in my collection. So after hunting around, found them, and in a matter of under 2 days, I was able to get the last 4 Ghost Arks built for this army. And anyone who's built a Ghost Ark knows, wow, that's a task. There is a lot that goes into the Ghost Ark to get it built. Now, the all bigger question is, okay, why Ghost Arks? So Ghost Arks, one, the model looks really cool. I always like the design of it. The concept of the Ghost Ark is pretty cool, even though some of the kind of more fluff-driven abilities that it had in the past have been removed and it's been kind of toned down a bit. It still has the good essence of what it is. It's a very big vehicle, which makes navigating it kind of difficult, but it also is a very big vehicle, which means it makes navigating around it for my enemy kind of difficult. Now, we're going all in on this. We're using the transport capacity and everything. So that's how this list is going to be today. It should be some fun. We should definitely get some data out of it. There's a couple things I'm trying, and we'll see how it all comes about. Now, I do plan on working with Ghost Arks a little bit and seeing what we can get to happen. Maybe not 6, maybe drop it down to 5, maybe 4. But today we're going 6. And we're doing the Awakened Dynasty. Awakened Dynasty giving us the ability to our units led by characters. We're going to get +1 to hit when we're fighting with them, which doesn't go over to the Ghost Arks. Star Shatter is the other one that I'm considering, and probably in some later videos I might run that as well, for the ability to have to get assault, so I can advance and shoot with the Ghost Arks. But what I do like out of Awakened is the enhancement that gives us +1 to hit as an aura for Necron units, so that would affect the Ghost Ark, so being able to give them 2s to hit. Now, don't get me wrong, the Ghost Ark's firepower it's cool, it's neat, but it's not that devastating. It comes with lethal hits. We're looking at 10 shots at 12 inches, 10 shots at 24 inches, 20 shots at 10 inches. So it's strength 4, AP 0. So we're basically bolters. We have just a lot of volume of fire. The lethal is pretty cool, though. The lethal is pretty interesting to see, since pretty much everything in my army, almost everything, will have lethal that we're bringing today. So, with that being said, let's jump over and look into everything, and we'll talk about that factor of like why Awakened over Star Shatter, and we will see Star Shatter in the future with this, because that advance and being able to move vehicles through walls is pretty cool. But Awakened has a lot of stratagems that target some of the infantry to be able to kind of keep the balance, where it's not all the way down the Ghost Arks, which there's a lot that would probably break there if we did that. But being able to still put some of that weight on the infantry and provide really strong buffs for the army entirely. All right, let's go take a look at this this ghostly creation. So as I said, 6 Ghost Arks. So this is the Awakened Dynasty. We'll get +1 to hit for all of our units that are being led by a character. So these 6 Necron Warrior units are going to get led by characters. And yeah, then we have a bunch of strats that basically are going to be good for the Warriors more so. And some enhancements that will help support the Ghost Arks in their travels. So first, the 6 Ghost Arks. Ghost Arks, toughness 9, 14 wounds, 4 up save, with 2 Gauze Flare arrays. As I mentioned, each one of the Gauze Flares, and I know someone's going to correct me in the comment section, because I always say Gauze wrong. If you correct me, I will read it, and I will do my best in future videos to try to say it correctly. I apologize. The flares are 5 shots apiece, but there's 2 of them. So that's where we get the 10 from at 24 inches. They are rapid fire, so that's what gets us the 20 at 12 inches. Strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage, and these come with lethal hits. The big thing about the Ghost Ark is that when one of our Necron warrior units takes damage immediately after, we can target it and hit it with a reanimation protocol roll, so bringing some guys back. Each Necron unit can only be targeted by this ability once per phase, so that is so we can't just stack it forever. But that combined with the stratagem means that warriors could be super resilient and be able to bring a bunch back. Now, granted, these are 10-man, so they could get scattered to the wind pretty easily, but it means our opponent might have to dedicate more into them than they would actually want to. Ghost Arks have a 10-inch move, and they're very big models. So these guys are able to cover a lot of space. Good for blocking, blocking our opponent from being able to progress. So yeah, we're going to hit 6 of them today. As I mentioned, there's going to be 6 10-man squads of Necron warriors. These Necron warriors will all be led by a character unit just so that they can get the +1 to hit. Now, the Ghost Ark's transport capacity I didn't mention is 10 Necron warriors, only warriors, and a single infantry character. We don't have to attach the character that we're putting inside, but today we are going to. So these guys, 4 of the squads are going to have the flares to give us a little bit extra range, 24-inch range on those. And we have 2 with the Reapers. The Reapers are 2 shots, so they get that additional shot. Still lethal hits. All of our guns for the Warriors and the Ghost Arks have lethal hits. These are AP1, and they are shorter range, 2 shots. Strength 4, AP1, 1 damage. So still low AP, but it is some AP. And they will be led by a Plasmancer. So we have 3 Plasmancers that are going to be coming over, and we'll talk about those more in a bit. 2 of which are going to be with the Gauze. They give us a 5-up crit, so we'll be able to hit a little better. A lot of the strats, there's a lot of 1 CP strats that are going to give us buffs. They give us a 1st level buff and then a 2nd level buff if we are led by a character. So being able to give our weapons assault so we can advance and still shoot. And then we also would be able to re-roll the advanced dice because we're led by that character. Getting full re-rolls to hit because we're led by a character. The additional reanimation, an additional model because we're led by a character when we target with that strat. And then in combat, +1 strength, +1 AP. While, again, these are Necron warriors we're talking about in combat, it might be something necessary, especially because of just how many we have, to be able to kind of push through, do the damage, and keep someone off an objective. OC2 on these guys because they're battle line. Typically, they're only ballistic skill 4, but they'll be up to a 3 because of the character. Moving on into the characters. So the ones that are going to be leading, we have 3 Plasmancers, 2 Royal Wardens, and a Translocation Shroud Overlord. The 3 Plasmancers, one of which is going to be given the enhancement, which is an aura effect that will give +1 to hit for Necron units that are not character units. Primarily, I want to use this with the Ghost Ark. So that's going to be with one of the Flare squads that has the longer range, so we can get them in a better position, so we can try and keep that Plasmancer to support the Ghost Ark, so we can get that 2-up to hit from them. That's the idea, that's the goal. As far as the other ones, they're going to be with the Reapers, so that we get the 5-up lethals, and just get us a little better results out of lethal. Plasmancers themselves do a lot of damage, as we've seen with some of my previous. I like these guys a lot, just their damage output's amazing. So we wanted to bring 3 of them, just so we have that extra mortal wound, so we have some damage that we can guarantee on a target a little better, since our damage is kind of lacking in some areas, since we're either AP0 or AP1 for most of our shooting. The Royal Wardens are a model that I haven't really used, that's why they're not painted. And they are going to be leading 2 of the Gauze Flares. This is a unit that lets me fall back, shoot, and charge. So I'm interested to see how they play out with some of these smaller squads, since I can zone, block somebody. Oh, you charge. Okay, I'll fall back, reanimate, fall back, and still be able to shoot at you, which is probably what I want to be doing with most of the Necron Warriors, is doing more shooting than fighting in combat. And last, we have the Overlord with the Translocation Shroud. So this guy is going to be leading a squad with the flares, just so we can auto advance. They're probably going to be playing more to the midfield on everything. He does have the enhancement to give this unit stealth to make him a little harder to hit. And his unit with that advance will probably be playing more on the midfield to try to do more objectives and be able to move from left to right pretty easily. Like I said, that Overlord is very strong. He's very tough in his own right. So having one definitely will give me a little bit of combat prowess. I thought about going into more Overlords just to have that combat prowess, but I want to give the Royal Wardens their chance today. Also, floating around the board, we're going to have two of our Psychomancers. Because of the way that this list is designed, I definitely need to make sure that I'm keeping control of objectives and trying to score objectives. So I think these guys are going to be a very, very useful tool, being able to target things in Battle Shock. You know I love them. You know Lane loves them. So we're going to see them come back here today. Plus, these are guys that can also help fill in the gaps when we're trying to zone out and do some board coverage, and able to fill out the and do some secondaries and stuff like that while warriors are off doing other warrior things. And last, we have a 5-man squad of Immortals with a Chronomancer and Emotech. Now, if I start running Emotech more, I'll get him on the right base. I know. But I'm going to run the older model because I have him. And I mean, I think the new model's fine, but there's nothing that makes me jump and go, oh man, that's so awesome. I want that model, like Xeris. I personally think he should have gotten a little more of the Primarch treatment, made him a little bigger, a little tougher, maybe not leading units. Just for who he is and what he is. I know we got the Silent King that falls in that category, but I think he could have done for a little bit more of a size upgrade just for his overall stats, especially kind of really doesn't do very much for leading a unit at all, which is kind of surprising for who he is, that he doesn't really provide any buffs, which is one of the reasons I don't really like running him particularly. It's a personal preference. But I do have a lot of 1 CP strats that I want to make sure I'm running, so I want that extra CP that he gives with his ability. Now, Chronomancer allows me to shoot and then move, so the Immortals are going to have Tesla, which is an assault-based weapon. So we can advance with these guys, shoot, move a little further to get them around the field. The Chronomancer also has the Veil, so we could pick this unit up and land them somewhere else. And the reason for all that is Emotech's going to get in the fight of it today. We're not just going to leave Emotech in the backfield. I know. A lot of you are like, wait, no, you just put Emotech back there. He guards your home field. That's it. That's what you do. Yeah, I can see it. I've had the Overlords where I've had one that'll just step out, throw a Tachyon arrow, and then walk back and hold my home field objective. And if my opponent tries to bring something small in there, that's usually not enough to take down an Overlord, and that's what Emotech is. That's how his stats look, and that's how he falls. So, but today we want to fight with him. We want to get in there. We want to call the storm. We want to make some lightning and see if we can do some damage. So we're gonna get him into the thick of it, and that's why he's got the Immortals for a little bit of bodyguard. Still cheaper than Lich Guard, and actually gives me an extra speed boost because of the Chrono. And then the Chrono with the Veil. Some of that was because of points, but that got us to an exactly 2,000 point list, and that is the list. You may have also noticed that some of the Necron warriors are a little wonky. There's one that's not the right base size, one that's painted, one that's not painted, one that's not painted in my color scheme, stuff like that. I kind of did that intentionally. So I have a bunch of Necron warriors that I still need to work on. Just because, you know, I bet a lot of players out there understand this is where you get a ton of Necron warriors, you have them in your collection, you're like, okay, they're built, put them to the side. I don't need that many right now. That's kind of where we're at. But what's a positive thing is because I haven't played this or practiced this, I don't have any way to keep the squad separated. I'll probably just go with some of like the little clip-on rings that are like different colors to keep the squad separated for who's in what. That'll probably be the end result with it, but it hasn't been something I've practiced. So by having some type of way of dividing out what squad is what is going to help me in the game, so I can make sure I'm not suddenly a Necron warrior squad is at 12 guys for some reason, because like, hey, look, here they are. That's going to help because I don't want to make that mistake. Now, again, as I mentioned, I wanted to talk a little bit more about why Awakened over Star Shatter. Awakened, like I said, I already listed a bunch of the strats, so I won't bore you with those that we have access to. Star Shatter doesn't really give, it gives stuff towards the vehicles, but it doesn't increase the damage output. And with the Ghost Arks only having the Strength 4 AP 0 guns on them, I feel like if I put too much weight on them, they're going to break and they're going to run into a wall and they're not going to be able to move past it. Yes, for 1 CP you can go through a wall. Yes, that's not the wall I'm talking about. I'm talking about the wall for the game where my opponent's going to be able to move up there with some basic infantry, some basic stuff, and I'm not going to be able to pass through it. Now, yes, I can fly over and move further into those zones, but it's still a large model that my opponent can really easily block me out. So we do need to be able to remove some of the cheaper units that our opponent's going to try and hit with objectives. And that's kind of my goal with how much volume of firepower we're able to bring down, is that we get our opponent into a point where the elite units that they want to be doing damage are suddenly getting stuck and having to deal with warriors, Ghost Arks, and things like that they don't want to be dealing with because they'd rather be out there or they're going to have to deal with, and they're not going to be able to do some of the secondaries. Now, we do have quite a few characters. And this is kind of where we're at right now with the state of the game. And I kind of have a different feeling for it. So, challenge cards. In one hand, I completely understand where people are coming from, and I feel the same way. And I don't think challenge cards were the fix that the game needed. I don't think that it's a good system. I disagree with it, and I feel you. However, I also don't feel like the current primary missions and secondary cards can survive if we just remove the challenger cards. There has to be something else done into it. With some of the cards that are scored in your opponent's turn, some of the different actions that are based, I think that, and some of the points and the cost, I don't think you can just take the challenger card out without messing up some of the balance of the game elsewhere. Are there ways they could be tweaked? Probably. I've recommended, no challenge cards on turn 5, maybe increase the amount that you are losing by, maybe even do it basically on battle rounds, 6 points, then 9 points, then 12 points to get the challenger cards and do it over the course of 3 turns. I feel like there's things like that could make them not feel as much as it feels bad of like, okay, I'm winning the game, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but yet you're able to stay in it and keep it and win, even though I'm tabling you. I'm playing the game right. I'm scoring the missions, and maybe my cards are a little weak, but I'm playing the game right. And you're able to get those challenger cards and keep right there with me. I get it. I can see it. And I definitely feel like as a group, as a community, we kind of agree the challenger cards are a little messy. However, they are part of the game. So for Necrons, we need to steer into that skid. Assassinate is a threat, but that means that our opponent then has to take a second secondary. And in that case, that's what we funnel on. Okay, you took Assassinate, sweet. You're going to take out some characters. You're going to jump ahead in the lead. You're going to score those points early. And then I'm going to get challenger cards. So I'm going to try and catch up on that because every character they destroy is 4 points. Okay? Every challenger card we get is going to be 3 points, and they're relatively easy to do. So we can catch up with the fixed Assassinate on challenger cards. All we need to do is focus on that other secondary and the primary, and that's it. So in some ways, it helps make our game easier. It makes it our opponent's not really going to collect much challenger cards. And in a lot of armies, I've mentioned this before, are not built to be able to do that fixed secondary. You're losing the possibility of extra CP that we usually like. I personally plan that in the early stages of the game, I'm going to get a card that I can't score, and I'm going to get extra CP to be able to push me through. A lot of armies aren't prepared for that. So when they start doing that stuff, they're actually handicapping themselves in other ways that we can utilize to be able to win as the Necron army. So I feel like Necrons, even though we do have a ton of characters and we want to run them, but we keep looking at the Assassinate, the challenger cards make it that it's okay. We can steer into that skid. Again, I know a lot of people don't like them. I get it. I understand. But right now it is part of the game. And it's something that we can use when running our different dynasties and running our different detachments and running a bunch of characters, keeping that mindset of, okay, if my opponent wants to take fixed on Assassinate, fine. I just need to make sure I'm focused on how do I stop those other secondaries. and what other secondary they're going to take. You know, engage in all fronts, kind of tough. You can stop that one and slow your opponent down there. Cleanse, can't really stop your opponent, but again, with having the high OC value that I have, I might be able to prevent them from controlling some of those objectives and maxing out those points. Those are possibilities. So it's just things to keep in mind. It's things I'm thinking about right now because of the fact that Necrons is a character-rich army. You can get around it. You don't have to run a ton of characters, but there are a lot of scenarios I know that we've all come into where we start building an army and we're like, wow, I have 8 characters in this list because of Cryptex, how cheap they are, and how many times we want to slap them into a squad as well. I mean, I have 3, 4, 5, 6 Cryptech models in this list right now that I'm running, and that right there, take out the Cryptex and you max out Assassinate. So, but yeah, that's kind of how I feel with it, is just in general as a whole with Necrons, is I'm kind of leaning into it a little more of like, okay, well, Challenger cards are here, and until we hear something different, they're going to be around, so why not utilize that to the best of our advantage, I guess, right now. It sucks. It really does, because I do agree that it is not in good spirit of the game and how the game is meant to be played. So I think that, yeah, that's rough. And I agree with that 100%. But until it changes, it's something that Necron players around, we can utilize. All right, well, that's it. We're going to be facing off against Lane and his viewer recommended list that we'll be playing. You guys let me know too. Is there some crazy Necron concoctions you wanted to see? We can throw them out here on the channel. I'm definitely for finding some hidden gems in Necrons. We got Grey Knights coming soon. Very, very soon. But yeah, always back on my Necrons. Those are my babies. So, all right, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.